Doggy, I got some exciting videos for you guys today. Viewer discretion is advised on this video because we are going to be taking a look at the hostage situation out of LA where the hostage and the hostage taker were shot and killed by LAPD. We hear a lot about less than lethal weapons when it comes to people wanting police reform. I personally love foam/beanbag rounds. I think they're awesome, but that doesn't mean I think that they should be used in certain situations instead of deadly force. There are a lot of situations where an officer should only use less than lethal options if there is an officer with lethal options covering that officer. Before we start looking at all the videos that we're going to take a look at today, 5 in total, I just want to go ahead and add that there are departments out there that don't have access to less than lethal means. It would be great if every police officer could carry a beanbag shotty in the trunk of their car, but the hard truth is that there are a lot of underfunded police departments out there. Shit, just last week an entire police department in Massachusetts quit. Their radios didn't work, they had one working police car, and the officers were having to respond to calls in their personal vehicles. Today we're going to take a look at 4 different scenarios where less than lethal options were utilized, 2 worked, 2 did not. We're also going to take a look at another video where less than lethal options weren't available to the officers on scene. First video is pretty short and doesn't take a lot to explain. It's just a perfect use of a beanbag round by the San Diego Police Department. Last Saturday at around 1 a.m., a dude went apeshit crazy, started breaking a bunch of shit in a 7-Eleven, and then he went outside and vandalized a bunch of cars. That's when the San Diego Police Department was called to the scene. Police showed up on scene. The guy had a large rock in his hand that he was using to vandalize cars with. He dropped the rock. He didn't want to follow instructions, so they deployed a beanbag round, and he was also dropped like a rock.
No, you better not.
Let's watch another video where less than lethal options worked pretty well. LAPD officers were called to a burglary in progress. When they arrived on scene, they found the person who was actually committing the burglary inside the home. There are a lot of officers who were able to respond to this situation. You can see the primary officer who went in first has his service pistol out while they try to gather around and see what they're going to do.
Right in the kitchen.
I need for you to drop that. Drop it. Drop the fire extinguisher. Drop it. Drop it.
Hey, what does he have? What does he have? He's got a fire
He doesn't have anything right now. Turn around. Turn around.
The guy who's inside of the kitchen that the officer is pointing his gun out drops whatever he had in his hands. He puts his hands on his head, but then he starts arguing with police.
Hey, turn around. Turn around. Turn around. Turn around.
Turn around.
Turn around. I'm Charles Child. Turn around.
Please, turn around.
Put the gun down. I don't have anything. I'm trying to tell you. You don't want to take it. We'll fight your dead body. Turn around. I'm not doing that. I didn't do anything wrong. Please stop. I'm an innocent man. Stop. I'm telling you.
Relax. We're not going to hurt you. I need you to turn around.
No. Y'all gang stalked me for the last 5 years. Y'all harassed me, followed me around for the last 5 years.
Okay.
She's about to shoot me with a dead thing.
Okay, listen.
Y'all harassed me for the last 5 years. Because these white supremacists.
Hold on.
He says, you guys are just harassing me because you're white supremacists. Oh, I see. He's a Tariq Nasheed follower. My coffee has too much cream in it because of white supremacy. My dog got hit by a car because of white supremacy. Police are harassing me because I'm just committing a home invasion. White supremacy.
Listen to me. What's your name?
Charles Childs II.
Okay, Charles. Listen, Charles. Okay, listen to me for 1 second, Charles. Charles, listen to me. Relax. Okay, listen. Nobody's gonna fuck you up. But this, Charles. Okay, dude. Charles.
But my friends are dead because their dads want to kill them for some white supremacist shit because they gay on his fucking.
Okay, well we're not. Listen to me, Charles. Okay, Charles, listen to me, dude.
Son is down there dying.
Okay, you know, we'll take care of him in a second, but Charles, I need you to turn around and relax, okay? Just turn around and
I
relax.
was being mirrored and tracked by these people.
Okay, we'll take care of that afterwards. But Charles, I need you to turn around.
The officers do a fantastic job of trying to de-escalate the situation. You have one officer speaking calmly to Charles, while the other officers stand around with different methods of taking Charles into custody. One officer has the big mean green beanbag shotty, one officer has his taser out, and then the officer who was initially in the room in the first place has his service pistol still out. Then Charles starts talking about magic and wizards, and it kind of dawns on everyone, ooh, this guy is either on some serious shit or he's mentally ill, both which mean he's probably not going to come into custody willingly. They all get together, have a little powwow, and come up with a game plan.
Charles, turn around and relax.
I don't trust you. Because
okay, listen.
Brian, they do magic like that.
Okay, nobody's doing magic, but I need you to calm down, dude, okay? Just calm down and relax.
I need you to put that gun down, and I'm not going to do nothing. I don't want to get arrested.
So listen, we'll see what we're going to do. Hey, Charles. Charles, move over here. Charles, hey, listen. Hey, listen. He's going to put the gun down as soon as, okay, listen. Hey, listen, this is what's going to happen, man. You want to put the gun down, right? You want him to put the gun down? We're going to put the gun down as soon as you walk over here to the door. Walk to the door. Hey, okay, walk to the door and face the door. And he's going to put the gun down, okay? No, face the other way. Okay, we're not going to handcuff you. Okay, face the door here. He's going to put the gun down, look.
I'm one soul
hey,
down.
Look at, okay, face the wall.
All y'all souls
hey.
shielded me.
Hey, Charles. Hey, listen, man.
I'm being dead serious.
Charles. Hey,
For
listen.
5 years, you've been
Charles.
who I was.
Hey, listen, he's going to put the gun down. I just need you to
Who told
face
y'all
the
to
wall.
put those mics in y'all's mouths?
Listen to me. Hey, calm down. No. Hey, put it down. Relax. Relax. Got it? Relax. Tyler, come here, and get these niggas. Please. Watch our legs, bro. Relax, bro.
Got a taser.
Relax. Charles, relax. Relax, bro.
They all converge on him at once. He grabbed something, lifted it over his head. The officer who was closest to him took it out of his hands. They all gained control of his arms. He was still being a little resistant, so they tased him, and he was taken into custody without incident. Something to take away from this incident, especially when someone says, well, how was Charles taken into custody alive, but XYZ was shot? Well, the officers on scene had the training, they had the numbers, they had the equipment, and they had the time on their hands to come up with a game plan. Not to mention, even though Charles was either on something serious or mentally ill, he still kept his hands above his head or where they could see them the entire time. I'm going to preach it this entire video, but no two situations are ever the same. The next video that we're going to take a look at happened on June 9th, and it also comes from the Los Angeles Police Department.
My boyfriend got stabbed in the face by my brother.
Officers were called to a stabbing. When they arrived on scene, they learned that the victim of the stabbing had already been taken to the hospital. The officers approached the front of the residence. They looked through a gated door and could see that the suspect was inside with a knife in his hand fighting with his father.
Put the knife away! We're at 15. Can you make it a backup? Got 415 out the knife. Put the knife away!
They gained entry to the residence. They tried to get the father outside. He either didn't understand or didn't want to listen to what they were saying, so they followed him inside to where the suspect was.
Come here. Outside. Senor. Sir, come on outside. Outside.
Speaking of a time, trying to get a dog.
They approached the suspect with lethal and less than lethal means. You can see one of the officers has the big mean green beanbag shotty out, and the other officer has his pistol out. And that one officer uses the shit out of that big mean green beanbag shotty.
Drop the screwdriver! Drop the knife! Back up!
The suspect was hit at least 6 times with a big mean green beanbag shotty. He continues to run at his father though while wildly swinging the knife. The officer whose body camera we're looking through has no other choice, so he opens fire with his service pistol. The suspect was struck in the shoulder, he goes down, was taken to the hospital where he lived, and he was charged with a shit ton of felonies. One thing that you can clearly take away from this is that different people are affected very differently by non-lethal rounds. In that one video we watched, the dude went straight down. It looked like somebody pushed his off button. In this video though, the guy was shot at least 6 times with non-lethal rounds, which hurt like a son of a bitch, and he just kept coming. The next video that we're going to take a look at today also involves a man with a knife. On May 23rd, Fox Crossing, Wisconsin police officers were called to the scene of a man running around threatening people with a knife. The first officer to arrive on scene sees the suspect chasing people with a knife, so he grabs his long gun and jumps into action.
Away from him! Get away from him! Police! Get out of the ground! 540, he's running out on the bridge.
Copy.
540, he's running out on the bridge. I got people running from him. He's got a knife right now. Get out of the ground! You guys get! Get! Get out of the ground! Get down on the ground, I will shoot you! You are gonna... Get down on the ground! Don't move! Get down on the ground!
In this situation, the officers didn't have any less than lethal means available other than a taser. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you know that I would not in a million years trust a taser against a knife. I showed this video because I also want to press on the point that no two agencies are the same. It's not the officer's fault that they didn't have less than lethal means and there was a guy running at the officer with a knife. The last video that we're going to take a look at, of course, is the hostage situation out of Los Angeles. On June 16th, LAPD officers responded to calls of a man who had stabbed his girlfriend with a knife.
Hi, I have someone who stabbed somebody at my location. I need the police now.
As police officers arrived on scene, they spotted the suspect holding a large knife and a folding chair.
I have units back to Scorpion, please settle down.
That's 923.
Commands were given by the officers, beanbag rounds were deployed on the suspect, and then witnesses described the man as grabbing a woman near him and sawing at her throat with a knife.
Take cover, keep cover. Drop the knife! Hey, put the knife down! The knife. Turn around, put the knife down! Put the knife down! Drop the knife! Put it down! Drop 923, let me get a backup. Drop the knife! Drop the knife! Drop it! Put it down! Move up, move up. Drop the knife! Drop the knife! Move up, move up. Drop the knife! Drop the knife! Put out a help call. Be that ready!
Three officers opened fire with 18 rounds. Unfortunately, 2 of those rounds struck the woman and killed her. Relying solely on less than lethal weapons, as you can see in this situation, ended poorly for everyone. I just want to ask you a question after watching that. Why do you think the officers hesitated to shoot the man? This is purely speculation on my part, but do you think they possibly could have been second guessing themselves? Will my command back me on this? Are protesters going to be in front of my house tonight? Is the news going to crucify me? In this situation, they were being the police that the internet attorneys want them to be. Do you know why I think the police officers hesitated in this situation? Because of the mainstream media. I think it's because all the public scrutiny police officers are faced with now is causing them to hesitate. Officers shouldn't be crucified by the media every time they have to shoot someone. We talked about it yesterday where a guy who was actively attacking a police officer ended up being shot, but a lot of the headlines read unarmed black man shot by police. The thing about this situation is that you'll see the same people on the internet sharing different opinions every time there's a different police shooting. Did you know that the LAPD has only killed 2 hostages in the past 13 years and the other time was within the past few weeks? You remember the guy that killed some family members and ran from police and crashed into the Trader Joe's and he jumped out shooting at police, so police returned fire and unfortunately hit a woman inside the store and killed her? People were saying, well, the police acted too quick to shoot. But you'll also see the same people in this situation saying, well, why didn't the police roll up and kill the guy? Policing in a whole can be looked at as a you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't career. Don't let me discourage you from being a police officer. I know there's a lot of people out there that want to get into policing who follow me. I get emails about it every day. Just understand that when you're getting into this line of work, it's very stressful, and there are going to be times when you have to make a split-second decision between life or death. Yours or someone else's. That's just my 2 cents. I don't know if you noticed, but 3 of the clips we looked at in this video were all from the same agency, the LAPD, which further proves my point that every single police shooting or incident is drastically different. That's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you saw the different dynamics that every single situation and police incident has. One thing that I want to ask you to do, if you want to see every single one of my videos as they are released, there is a little bell icon underneath the subscribe button. If you hit that, you'll get my notifications. I know it's weird. If you subscribe to me, you probably want to see my videos, but that's how YouTube does it now. Everyone, this is Donut, and by the time this video is released, I'll probably be on at twitch.tv/donutoperator. We can talk about some of these incidents, or we can talk about other stuff. I look forward to seeing you on the stream. Please have a fantastic day.